In addition to displaying real-time navigational data, Coastal Explorer integrates other useful information such as weather, tides and currents, guidebooks, and an extensive built-in help facility. Some of the information is native to the program, such as the tides and currents and guidebook information, and the help facility, meaning they're accessible without an internet connection, while weather forecast information requires access to the internet. Weather, tides, and currents are found under the Conditions tab, while the Guidebook tab contains guidebook information, and Help and Product Support is accessed from the main menu. We'll get to all these in order, starting with Conditions. Clicking the Conditions tab opens to a text weather forecast similar to what you might hear on a VHF radio. Since our boat is outside the San Francisco Bay Area, it found the current forecast for that area. The blue highlighted area shows the current forecast zone. If I scroll out, way out, and also turn off chart display by clicking the chart menu and selecting hide all charts, it's easier to see the various forecast zones. 10 to 60 nautical miles near shore, the southern part of the bay, the north part of the bay. There are forecast zones that cover the entire coastal U.S. Clicking on one retrieves that particular forecast through the internet. I'll turn chart display back on using the keyboard shortcut V for vector, and I'll zoom back in on my area here. In the left-hand panel, clicking Graphical Forecast opens a graphical forecast window, a way to download and display a graphical representation of the forecast. Clicking the Download button opens a window where the region to download may be selected, as well as the weather elements and the number of days in the forecast. Downloading less information, such as unchecking air temperature and rain, changing the number of days of the forecast to be downloaded from 3 to 2, can control the size of the download in case you have bandwidth constraints. Clicking OK downloads the file with the status bar here at the top of the screen. And when it's done, now we're looking at a graphical forecast. These check boxes control which weather layer to display. Unchecking wind removes the arrows. Unchecking pressure removes the isobars. I could check significant wave height, wave direction, or uncheck, just depending on how much information I want to see. Zooming in on an area, such as off the Baja coast, panning and zooming. Going to the Properties panel and clicking on a particular location provides all the specific information about that location. And also, if you notice in the upper right-hand part of the forecast window, as the cursor is moved, the data it displays changes. I'll pan up to where the boat is, and if I put the cursor right behind the boat, it says it's blowing 20 knots. If I zoom in front of the boat, it shows it's blowing 12 knots, so we can get a point forecast that way. I'll zoom way out, scroll in, and now I'll advance the forecast an hour at a time. Controls at the top of the window can be used to advance the forecast ahead by an hour. Clicking it repeatedly shows the forecast changing. Click this button to move a day ahead, or this button to move a day backwards, or the middle button is Go to Now. If I happen to be ahead or behind the current time, the time in the upper right hand corner is highlighted in yellow, which indicates we're looking at what's called virtual time. It's displaying virtual time, not the current time. So this is the forecast for 8 o'clock tonight. If I want to see the forecast for midnight tonight, I can go forward to midnight tonight, and there's the forecast for midnight tonight. To return to now, simply click the diamond in the center. Gets us out of virtual time mode. And I'll zoom in again on the boat, and once again I'll turn off charts by using the hide all charts option, and it makes it easier to see the various pieces of information. When Coastal Explorer has an internet connection, it can also access METAR's weather reporting stations, hourly reports typically from airports and other permanent weather observation stations. These are indicated by the magenta lines on the screen. Turning off wind barbs might make it even easier to see the METAR stations. So there are the METAR stations with the magenta icons. Clicking on one shows the information available at that location. Buoy reports are available from the National Data Buoy Center, also known as NDBC. These are indicated by the colored boxes. Blue boxes, yellow dots. Click on a blue box And there is the report from 48 miles north-northwest of San Francisco. Click in the box to dismiss it. Click the yellow box. See the point raise buoy. Again, this is information that's available on an hourly basis, and it does require internet access. If the vessel is configured with the appropriate Navtext receiver, Navtext data can be displayed in the program from the Navtext tab on the left-hand side. Now let's close the conditions browser by clicking the red X. Move the chart, zoom back in on San Francisco, and turn charts back on by selecting vector charts. Zoom in a little more. The program also has built-in tide and current predictions from NOAA. To see these, click the chart tool, select more options, and check the box for tide stations, and tide stations appear, such as there just inside the bay. Click the box for current stations, and current arrows appear. To make this a little easier to see, I'll dismiss the charts window by closing it, and I'll use the highlight marks command to wash out the chart and make it a little bit easier to see the current and tide stations. Tide stations are shown as diamonds, such as Point Bonita here. A diamond with dark arrow in the diamond pointing in the direction of the tide, so the tide is currently 0.81 feet and rising. Current stations are shown as arrows. Here we have the San Francisco Bay entrance. The arrow points in the direction of flow, and the size of the arrow indicates the strength of the current. Click the point, and Coastal Explorer displays a one-day thumbnail. Click the thumbnail, and the current browser appears. The current state of the tidal current. The graph can be expanded or contracted with the zoom commands. You can go forward an hour or multiple hours. Notice how it changed from an ebb to a flood, and this red line indicates what's currently being displayed on the chart. So if we go forward again, notice the red line moves. We can go a day ahead. You can see tides or currents for a particular day using the Go to Date button, the calendar icon. So maybe we want to see what it'll look like on Saturday. Select our date, click OK, and it shows us the tide or current for Saturday. I can go back to Now with the Go to Now button, and I can turn off highlight stations. I'll click the red X to close the browser. Clicking the Guidebook tab opens the Guidebook browser. There are many types of entries: Coast Pilot, Active Captain, and other sources. Click on an entry, and the text of the Coast Pilot for that location is displayed, as well as a blue highlighted area on the chart panel showing the area that the page of the Coast Pilot covers. Coastal Explorer includes the full text of the NOAA Coast Pilots built in, so guidebooks don't require internet access. Click back to go back to the list of places. Active Captain information can be downloaded and made available for offline use. It requires a small add-on module covered in the configuration video. There's also a menu in the upper right-hand corner that shows the various options that can be displayed if they're loaded on the computer, including Panoramio, which will download geo-referenced photographs when there's an internet connection available. It only works when the internet connection is available. And I'll close the guidebook with the red X. I can dismiss this pop-up in the screen simply by clicking on it. Last up in this module is the built-in Help function. Help can be accessed from the main menu, going down to Help and Product Support. The information about your particular version of Coastal Explorer and your product ID is seen there. There's a topic called Getting Started, which you can read through. Gives you some pointers about getting started, how to use planning mode, how to install charts, how to set up instruments. Click the back button. It also contains a way to browse through topics by functional areas. Very useful way. Click the Home button to go back to the main screen. There's also a list of keyboard shortcuts. They're all documented here. There's quite a few. Get out of Help by clicking the red X. The Help function can also be accessed by the blue question mark that's in the upper corner of every screen, or simply by typing F1 on the keyboard. So if I'm in the conditions browser and I type F1, Help opens to the conditions browser. It's context sensitive. The contexts of Help are quite extensive. The Help function even contains a link to our website. If I go back to the home page of Help, there's a link back to our website, Coastal Explorer Network. Clicking this link will launch a web browser and take you to the support page of our website, where you'll find these training videos as well as links to the updates and other information.